happened that's in my life have actually been serious things. So I'm actually going to share a couple things about my life. So I was adopted. And a lot of people say, well, wow, that's so sweet. Your parents adopted you. Wow, that's so sweet that they adopted a special needs child. You know what the truth is? One night they're sitting down and they're thinking, hey, we need more entertainment. Dad thought, hey, we'll buy a big screen TV. Mom's like, hey, we'll adopt a special need child, get more entertainment out of them, right? So now they don't have to replace me every time I'm out of expire. I've been lasting entertainment for the last 42 years. Great investment, right? So all the time I get asked, Jason, why are you in a wheelchair? And I love this question. A lot of people are like, oh man, I don't want to ask the guy in the wheelchair because that would be rude, right? So depending on who asks the question, my answer can change a little bit, right? So I was in church one time and this little lady came up and, oh, she was so sweet. I love it when people ask me this question, right? They're like really like kind of dancing around it a little bit. They kind of want to ask, but they don't want to ask, right? And she's like, why can't you walk? What happened? And I'm like, oh man, my dad over there, that's a pastor? She's like, yeah. I said, oh man, he dropped me one time. And she's like, what? He's like, I know, right? You know when you have a baby, you throw the baby up in the air and you catch him, right? Dad was eating some chicken at a potluck, threw me up in the air, right on the floor. Never walked again. Kid you not, that lady held a grudge against my dad for years. In fact, I'm not sure she even still knows the truth, or I think she passed away, right? I love it when kids ask, right? Kids will ask, I do sometimes talks with kids, and they'll be like, oh man, why are you in a wheelchair? Great thing about kids, right? They ask questions. Adults, we grow up and we're like, I don't want to ask that question, right? Kids are like, screw that, I'll just come out and ask, right? So kids ask me, man, why in a wheelchair? I'm like, I didn't eat my vegetables. They're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, right? I skipped the broccoli. Go home and eat your broccoli. I kid you not, I swear, kids go home and eat the salad now, just because of me. So a couple months ago, I was going through a park, and I see these, teenagers smoking. And man, they're thinking they're cool. Man, I'm cool, I'm smoking, right? I kid you not, I went up to them, I'm like, dude, you don't want to do that. I'm like, look what happened to me. One kid's like, no, that's not happening. I'm like, yeah, I had one bad cigarette and never walked again. And I left. As I'm leaving, I kid you not, as I'm leaving, the kid, no, that's not happened. Oh, I think it did. I've heard the story. I swear, every time those kids had a cigarette after that, they thought of me, right? Don't want to wake up that guy. So, kid you not, when I was younger, I got kicked out of a mall. Now you're probably thinking, wait, a guy in a wheelchair get kicked out of the mall? In Portland, there used to be an ice skating rink. I don't know if you guys remember that, but there used to be an ice skating rink in Portland. So me and my buddy were younger, and we thought, hey, I've always wanted to go on an ice skating rink. So what do? I snuck out on the ice. Man, I'm doing Brody's, and I'm pulling him behind me. It's great. Mall police show up, right? Of course, they're like, here's this big wheelchair on this ice with a bunch of these school kids going around on ice skates, right? Probably not the safest thing. My buddy played it great. He went over and said, oh man, I'm so sorry about my buddy here. He's dying. It was his last request just to go on the ice. And man, it'd mean a lot if you give him 5 more minutes. I got 10, right? It was awesome. Yes, I still got kicked out of it, but man, at least I got 10 minutes on the ice skating rink. I love Dutch Brothers. Who here likes Dutch Brothers? Right, I have a little bit of addiction, I have to admit, right? It's better than drugs. So I love going through Dutch Brothers. And the people at Dutch Brothers always have to be super nice. Have you ever noticed that? I swear, they always ask you, hi, how are you? Really, they don't care how you are, but I think they have to say that. And I love it when they ask me. I said, you know what? I woke up this morning, I can't walk. Right? And you should see their faces. They're like, what the hell? What do we say to that, right? Is the guy going to cry? Is the guy joking? And they give you that dead look, and then they look at the person next to him, like, what do I say, right? And then, of course, I let him off the hook, right? I said, it's okay. I said, it's really bad because last night, I tried to sleepwalk. Can you imagine being in my situation, sleepwalking? Right on the floor, right? You get up in the morning, you think, right on the floor. It sucks when you forget you're in a wheelchair, it really does, right? So, we're going to talk about dating, right? Who here has ever had a date? Right, my girlfriend here is in the front, she's like, oh my gosh, please don't say anything embarrassing, right? So, dating sucks when you're in a wheelchair. And there's a couple of reasons why it sucks. But however, I've tried the online dating thing, right? And I love writing profiles for my online dating thing. One time I wrote a profile and I said, hey, the reasons why you should date a brother in a wheelchair. Okay, let's go over them, right? 1, the parking. Have you ever gone to Walmart in the holiday season? And how many wheelchair spots are sitting empty up front of Walmart, right? I love watching people. They're like, oh, I gotta walk all the way across the store, all the way across the parking lot. Look at all these spots. Date a brother in a wheelchair, you always get front row parking, right? Take me shopping. I'm great for shopping, right? When you go shopping, you got this big heavy purse. Women love purses, right? A lot of things in their purse. Take me shopping. You don't have to carry your purse. Throw it on my chair. Imagine going to a store and everything's half off and you want to buy a bunch of shit, right? All you got to do is pile it on my wheelchair, right? Go shopping with me and never get tired. You can always shop, right? Okay. First dates suck. Man, who likes first dates? Nobody, right? Nervous. Can you imagine being in my situation, being on a first date? I love not telling women sometimes when I first meet them, right? They're thinking, this tall, strapping guy, get there and, holy crap. What do I say? They're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make this guy cry, right? I always pick the restaurant I go to. I have a difficulty eating things that are kind of sloppy, right? So one time I made the mistake of letting her pick the date or the spot we were meeting at. She picks a soup place, right? What am I gonna stab with the soup place, right? She was a little freaked out when I ordered a straw and I started slurping my soup with a straw. I didn't get a second date after that. Another time I was on a date, and at the end of the date is really the awkward time. This is usually where, you think it's going well, and you maybe, walk into the front door. I don't have that problem, of course, but you walk into the front door, you got your keys, you're jiggling your keys, and this is the time where, you might try to steal a kiss, right? So I was on this date one time, and I thought things were going really, really well. Of course, she's really up there, and I'm really down here, right? And it's not like I can put my arms around him, I can do the whole jiggly keys thing, so I said, hey, how about a kiss? She gives me these big eyes and just like dead silence. She's like, well, I'm just not feeling it. Now that's an awkward date. All right, hey, thank you guys for putting up with me. Appreciate it. Thank you.